It is Wednesday, October 20th. Login. Okay, Wednesday, October 20th. I guess I could turn this down a little bit. 2021, and I'm using the webcam. And I think I'm using the plastic camera effect for photo booth. This is probably the only day that I won't use the DSLR camera. I really wanted to make it a habit for my vlogs that I'm using the DSLR camera, even if I'm not taking incredible footage or making great videos. I wanted to get used to holding that heavy camera again, because admittedly I have become far too used to just having the iPhone. And while it can take even better, I think it can take better resolution than, I don't know. It's just, I want to get used to using my DSLR, which hopefully I'll get to do outside soon, because that's something I really have to do. I need to go outside this week. Okay. I got a comment, and it disappeared, but I'm going to reply to it anyway. But I won't say who it was from, just because I don't know why the comment disappeared unless they changed their mind. But I get my comments to my email, so I've got it. And I appreciated all the thoughts. If it was accidentally deleted, let me know. Like, as in, like, if I did it somehow when I looked at it, but I don't think I did. So I wanted to address some things in it. So if you're not someone who likes the whole idea of ghosts or phenomena or anything like that, or you don't want to hear my thoughts about any of that stuff, I understand if you want to skip this video. But this might be my vlog today, or it might just, maybe I'll put it as maybe I'll put it as a response video or on the subject or a follow-up, and then still try to do a vlog with my DSLR today anyway. So 2 personal videos. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So it was a response to the Vlogtober Day 18, 2021, moon, night, religion, and stuff, where I start to go on a bit of a ramble about religion. I mean, I could go on and on about all that. And they said that they enjoyed listening to the blog, especially the mini stories and topics I brought up. In regards to the dreams, they recommend I research dreams on Google. I wanted to say, I've been, well, I was far more, I've documented my dreams at length, throughout my 20s, 30s, etc. Wow, that traffic, right? So there is on my live journal a dreams and nightmares tag, and you can see that I've gone far back in it, and I've written my dreams, and I've written my thoughts about dreams and nightmares. I've had time periods of lucid dreaming. Wow, that's really, I mean, I know they're attending to something important, but it's like really annoying and unsettling at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so with dreams, regarding looking it up on Google, every now and then I have looked up, but I've done a lot of research on my own when it comes to dreams. For one thing, I've got a number of books on dreams, not dream encyclopedias, and I'll tell you why. Okay, first of all, I have the opinion that yes, there are universal dream symbols. Like, one of my favorite books is Wild Women, and the Wild Woman Archetype, or whatever, by Clarissa Pinkola Este. And so, like, I'm aware of the archetype, I'm aware of, is it Junghin? I'm aware of archetypes and dream symbols and that are universal, that like the example about a train taking you from a journey. I've also had trains just be in my dreams because of the fact that my hometown was the railway capital of Canada, and throughout my earliest childhood I used to walk the train tracks with my father. So, I mean, trains can also have more meaning to me than just traveling from one place to another. And that's one of the things I have a problem with. Certain dream dictionaries or just assumptions of this means that. Sometimes I think it's true, but I also believe that the best interpreter of your dream and what some things mean is you, the dreamer, because your brain will form connections depending on what's happened to you or what you've read, I want to say consumed, what you've taken in throughout your life, whether good, bad, content. I hate using that word all the time, but books, films, music, how you've connected to it, experiences with relationships and trauma and joy and happiness and moments that you're connected to. You might attach certain meaning to items, things, places, people that somebody else may have a different meaning for, or the universal meaning for it may be different than what you've formed. And I've always referred to those, well, I haven't always, but for many years now, I think of it as keys inside of you, like they're clues and keys that unlock your meanings to things. That kind of concept came to me years ago when, I would have reoccurring dreams. I had reoccurring dreams when I was very young. I visited a place when I was very young, and I don't know, we could psychoanalyze that as far as, why was I going to a specific place? Why had I created that place? Why did it seem so real? Why did I later have a traveling return to another place at some point and then have somebody in my real life seemingly block that portal to that doorway to that place? I mean, there's a lot of theories you can have about that personally, but I, from a young age, had dreams like that. The dreams kind of really didn't start till the first, my first memory of a traumatic dream was when someone had passed away when I was young, and then that was sinking in the concept of death, and then I was worried that I would lose the most important person in my life at that time, and so I had a scary dream about them. But then later I had the other dreams, and then I had certain types of dreams that were what I've read and what I've believe are out of body kind of limited experience dreams, and maybe connection to area and such type of dreams. And then it didn't really then it wasn't until my 20s where I was going through the trauma of what I was going through that my dreams really took up momentum, and I started really writing. I wrote them down a lot more, and the more you write them down, the more you remember or retain. And then and I had for the longest time, this one reoccurring dream of returning to the place I'd lived when I had lived with another set of parents for a brief period of time. And I would want to visit my best friend that lived near there. And there was a lot of like trying to get to there. And they were right around the corner too, so it was kind of like this reoccurring thing, and I had to later figure out, well, what is that meaning? And then I had a reoccurring dream as well about my first apartment that I had on my own at age 17 while I was working at the factory. And what was that return to that specific place meaning for me at that period in my life, like that I was in presently when I was dreaming those repetitive dreams. I felt like there were clues and keys to that as far as to present sort of things to figure out. So I think dreams are really complex. I don't think they're just easily explained by, not to say that that's what you're saying, but I don't think they're just explained by dream dictionaries. I always tell people that I talk about dreams with, which I have with some deep friendships and people I've connected with over the years. The subject of dreams and nightmares have come up, and I'm always like, the meaning sometimes isn't right away. Like, if there is a meaning, sometimes it's like just your brain spewing and sorting the garbage. But, other times it is you trying to figure out stuff. I mean, there's, different tactics people have used to try and solve problems, like thinking about something right before bed as far as trying to think of a solution and then coming up with it. That's why it's good to have pen and paper beside bed for many people, and now people use notes or voice recorder when they're waking up to share some stuff. I should do the voice recorder every time, but I sound so very tired and groggy, like worse than I sound right now. I sound so like out of it when I'm waking up that it's a bit hard to listen back to. But the interesting thing about that is I have certain phrases about dreaming, like when I've woken up, I've been like, how long, like, especially my crash nap, sleep, dream, nightmares. I'm like, how long was I gone? Another thing I say is, one of my worries because of my anxiety is like, was I mean in your dream? Like, if I was in your dream, was I mean? I don't want to be mean. Like, that's a fear. And the person's always like, no, you're you're fine. And I'm always like, oh, good. Because, of course, I have, my own fears of becoming people that had been damaging to me. But, okay, so back to this. But I'm not disputing dream dictionaries. I think, though, that the books that are about dreams in general, like about dreaming and such, are much better for people to grasp the concepts of how they can find the answers in themselves. But yeah, definitely if you're totally lost on some things, you're right, like looking it up online and seeing some things can definitely connect some clues, especially if you're internalized or your brain has just gone with the basic not basic, but the initial universal connectedness kind of dream symbolism sort of thing. But I think there are various things that can affect that, like culture, background, experiences, mental health, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but like if you have severe conditions of some kind, like mine is anxiety, and I have had depression in the past that has been extremely severe, that affects your dreams. People who have various other things that affect their sleep and dreaming can as well have that change, things like that. So enough talking about that. 15 minutes for me to just say I don't use Google, but I have used Google. I saw on one of my October 2014 vlogs I was looking up the meaning of the word mop because I dreamed about a mop. So sometimes I do look to it, especially if I'm like, this thing that seems so prominent in my dream is not something that is in my dream, in my own personal dream encyclopedia. It's not a key to me. Like certain people or things or items or places are keys to me as far as meaning. Some of them have changed over the years. I think people, especially as they're I think as you get older, which I have done, yay, no, some of those things have changed, and that's something to be aware of, that can happen, and that comes with perspective, or maybe it's the way memory affects things, or maybe you've healed or worked through that and it's changed the meaning of what you saw. Okay, so yeah, okay, so I'm gonna talk about this even though it's like 1:23 a.m. Yeah, what I had heard, that hello that wasn't on a vlog, and then I saw actually a black figure, like a black shadow thingy, a form of a person, but they weren't, they were just passing through, and they passed behind the person I was talking to from the kitchen through there. That isn't the first time that while with this person that this has happened. They didn't see that thing, by the way, and it didn't stick around, although maybe it did with the sounds, but it didn't seem like it wasn't the same hello. So it's too bad I hadn't recorded that, because that was a very clear thing, but maybe I'm the only one that would have heard it because he didn't hear it, but it was right behind me. There's a few things that could be going on there. I mean, it could be a relative, given that someone had passed away a few months ago, but I honestly believe that they moved on right away, like that the experience of when they passed away, I had a very vivid experience, connection, talking with my dad about his brother, and I feel that his brother was immediately embraced by his siblings and grandparents, and that he was like actually talked into letting go of this world because he didn't want to leave people behind. He didn't want to move on. He wanted to still help and do stuff to help people, and he needed to let go of this world. So like he was enfolded. I was talking to my dad on the phone when that happened, and I believe this was right after, like during the hours after, and I'm pretty sure that I was like quite tapped in with my father, and that through that experience it was quite a tapped in moment. And I believe I mean, it's subjective. People don't have to believe it, but I believe I was lucky enough to witness someone get embraced with light, and just he was hugged and surrounded by love and light and helped to move on, because it was actually one of his sisters that I never met, but who had passed before my dad connected with the family, and she had made some joke to him, some joke about math or something, and in it, and they laughed, and then she helped him to come into the to go into the light and move forward. So that was like I was witnessing something, and I had never ever done that before. It was quite powerful, and I guess that wasn't that long ago. That was May. So I don't believe it's him. One of the other theories we have about who it might be, as far as one of the people, is possibly my dad astral projecting while he's going through end stage and not actually talking to me, but part of him probably still wants to connect to me, or is connected to me, because we've always had a bond even when we're not getting along. And it could be that part of his subconscious is trying to, but I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. So it could be, probably, likely people, I don't know. I'm very open and raw during this time period, and it all makes sense because I'm still dealing with a recent death, and then I've been raw for a while and open, and then there's like what I'm going through with stress in general, and then I have my energy's so low, I have no protection for myself as far as like barriers, and I'm just like it's not very good. But anyway, moving on. I saw the channel recommendation. Okay, so here's the thing. I know about EVPs. I know I've been into true crime. I've been into I've done tarot for a long time off and on, and accurate readings. In fact, that's how I knew. Well, I didn't know. I mean, I feel like you're communicated through. That's how I knew that's how that's how some of the big decisions have been made. It's just that this feeling, and then like I pull out the cards, and it literally tells us what to do, and what's gonna happen, and it did happen. And so like I feel like definitely there's a open channel, and I also feel like we've had some help, but I also feel like we don't tap into enough of it either, and there's a lot of stuff like that. But I know about the negative energies, and that wasn't the first time seeing a black shadow, and I know those can be very bad. In this apartment building, when you live in a big apartment building, things have happened, and things happen, and things continue to happen, and people pass through. And I'm by a very busy highway, and I'm near numerous other apartment buildings where stuff happens, and so it's not uncommon to think that things are going to come through here, especially if I've got like this sort of open door policy going on right now, because I'm so fragile. And thankfully, some of the things that I've tried to do which haven't been completely successful, but some of the things have, I think, kept this okay. It helps the cats are here, and I've done some other things to help, so I don't feel attacked, but I have felt like the increase of like things coming around, whether it's real on video or not, like whether that was a chair or whether there were some sounds, whether there's some that I never even knew of because I would just like turn the sound to 0 and play the clips fast. Okay, so the first time in recent years adulthood was seeing, we were in the previous apartment and on the couch just sitting and a black thing moved right past us, like shot right, just went right through like a shadow while we were watching TV, and that was one that was interesting, and it was unsettling, and that was one that thankfully did not stick around long, although he ended up seeing it, like one in the form of a cat for a while, one that was trying to blend in and stick around, and that was unnerving. You'd be like, yeah, that I thought this cat was in the bathroom and they weren't, and then we had to do something about that, because that was like no. But that stuff, we were living in a smaller apartment building, but with a lot of seniors, and some of them dealing with dementia and also the loss of each other, like their partners and whatnot. And that was like a community that had like a lot longer lasting, older generations of people, and it was really a lot of, people went through, and it was another corner unit of a building, and I don't know, it's just like those are, for me, I've not heard of this concept, but I do think that they are kind of like, there was another couple that lived in a corner apartment, and I feel like they were also like, I don't know how to call it, pillars, rods, I don't know, we never talked about it, but I felt like they were a stabilizing thing. And then when they moved out, it kind of, I don't know, we had to be, and it was really, I don't know, it was interesting. It was an interesting thing, but that wasn't my first experience either. That was also, I was in my 30s then. I used to watch a lot more, like I still watch some paranormal stuff, but I used to watch a lot more, and I was never a fan of the aggressive investigators, and even though I watch a lot of movies where people are like that, in real life I'm just not down for that. I think that you should have a level of respect for whatever's hanging around or stuck, or just if you believe in that or whatever it is. I mean, things can be something other than what they're appearing, right? So and also sometimes it's nothing but a people believe what they want to believe as well. Like, so I have that like critical thinking and not cynical, practical thinking, but I also have like, I've had too many experiences of knowing something in time to help change something. for other people, not often myself, or just being right about things. Like, this has bothered exes. They'd be like, don't say something, it will happen. And I'd be like, I'm just saying, like, but I've also just seen things. Now, that's been reduced. People have said that's just because you see patterns. Not somebody specifically saying to me, but somebody saying about how things can be predicted. Generally, it's because you see patterns and you're not aware of it. Patterns of behavior, patterns of, like, if they did it before, they'll do it again, or just understanding human behaviors. I could say that that's probably, like, I could write off a lot of what I guess or what I assume or what I think to that. I think that's perfectly plausible and makes complete sense based on, life experience, learning stuff, reading, being open-minded, noticing things. But I also think that sometimes I tend to know things, and that's not new, but I'm also at the same time gullible. I don't see things for myself often. I couldn't go out and get lottery numbers. I couldn't tell you I can't always see things that are really important to impacting me, that could hurt me. I don't always see that coming. I often don't see those things coming, and it just makes it hurt all the more. It's just like, how come I can see some stuff? Like, how come I can predict or say this is going to happen for these people or on this thing that doesn't matter, but I can't help myself? Like, why can't I know more for me? Because I could use some help here. That's been a thing for a while. When I was more dreaming regularly, writing down my dreams, I think that helped me a bit more with that sort of stuff, but I used to call that dream work. But I haven't been big on that for a while because I've just been so overwhelmed. I do think there are people that can help with people with energies. I think places can hold energies. That's why such big apartment buildings are overwhelming. But so are different places, I think places hold energy. I think people leave energies. I think people are energy. I believe we are energy, so it only makes sense that our energies affect our environment and other people, and vice versa. I think that this is also something that transcends place, as in, like, that's why I think the internet is actually quite a conduit as well for energy that goes back and forth between people. I think that is tangible. I think as well it can be misread because those of us who still try to believe in the best of people can easily be a target, especially the more open we are. Recently, I've been so sensitive, and I got so cynical, especially yesterday. Somebody shared something like a link to a freaking hot ring championship thing, and I'm like, seeing that it was actually sent to them by somebody else, and I'm like, why you do? I just assumed the worst, which is not my default setting as far as like assuming the worst of people. And that was tough to see that I'm not high strung right now about like people with me. But to be honest, I've taken a lot of hits recently where people have called me awful things and told me that I'm a fake person and that I'm an awful person and that I'm a liar and a phony, and and you can't change what people think of you, but it hurts so much, especially if honestly, save for some not sharing certain things for various reasons that may one day come to light, I am extremely open. I'm an open book. I've had my life online for so long. The only reason why I private or friends only my live journal entries is because there's so much there, and I just, it's a lot, and some of it is really bad writing too. So it's like, but it's still there. My vlogs go back longer than, as it's been pointed out to me, most of the ages of those who watch the racing videos. I've been on there a while. Was I consistent? No, due to various access reasons, but I've been, here just being me for a very long time, and my paper journals show that as well. And my documentation in general has shown my consistency, and I have even been called by what I would feel is a bureaucratically, financially motivated place that wants to ruin human beings, injured workers, have wanted to destroy us. I've still been assessed as a reliable narrator of my life, a consistent, reliable source, a believable, because of the fact that my story is my story. I've owned it. I've documented it, and I don't lie. That's one of the things that's bothered me recently, is being called a liar. I can be wrong, and I can own that when I've learned that, but I don't lie. There's just some things I haven't maybe said for protection, but that hurts. That's bothering me right now so much, that somebody has called me that, and that people think that of me, when I'm like, I even gave them a lot of time and energy, my energy. I gave so much energy because, and why did I do that? I honestly, another reason why I'm so open right now is because I've wanted to be open because I've wanted connection, and I have been very open about wanting what I've wanted, and maybe because I've been so open about that, I just haven't closed down the part of me that should be protecting myself against people who just don't believe, that just want to see the worst. I don't know. It's not like it's not easy for me to be on camera, let alone because of how I feel about my appearance, and how the ravaging of time is happening, how I know I'm rambling about something, but negative energies picking up. Okay, warning of negative energies. Here's the thing, I tend to be right on my guesses about some people. Not all, because some people are really good at some people are really good at playing their games, and I don't know. And it perplexes me, and I've had this discussion with someone. I'm like, why are they why can't they just be who they are? Even if people are in flux and changing and questioning themselves, and maybe they have facets to themselves where they need outlets, where they are more aggressive in certain environments and then more like playful at other times. That's human nature, that's okay. But I mean, like, why purposely try to, I don't know, I'm just consistently me, even moody me. And it's really hurting. It's hurting a lot to be called those things. Probably because, like, I grew up knowing and thinking that, well, feeling that the worst things you could be is a thief and a liar. So, yeah. But negative energies, yeah. I mean, I could, I got this from my, I inherited this where, you can be overwhelmed when you're suddenly back in amongst, like, a workplace and whatnot, and there's all these people around you or something, and you're just, like, picking up everything. You're just so overwhelmed by it. I mean, it's, like, noisy, or not noisy for me. It'd just be, like, tiring or a lot, and then I get home and I crash. Only now I don't go out into the world and I still crash. Like, I crash nap the way I would when I would go to school, or when I would be working. I mean, school as an adult, or when I'd be working. And I worked at a very busy place. And I'd be fine while I was there, and high energy and able to, like, give, and people would gravitate toward me, and I'd be helpful, and I'd be me. I'd just be me, whether I'd have a bad day or not. I'm just, like, me. And yeah, it would be draining. Like, I even if it was a great day, I'd still come home and I need to sleep. That's how I've been for, like, a long time now, especially since my 20s, but definitely through my adult life. There was a time period where I really did want to go on in-depth, not in-depth, I wanted to do explorations, not just urban explorations for the sake of the photography of it, because I'm big into photography. But I was interested in paranormal explorations. I still have an interest in that. Urban exploration gets me, but I also think about the place. I mean, I'm always curious about people's lives. I like to write, and I'm interested in literature and poetry and philosophy. So, of course, I'm very much into the history and the wondering about people's lives whenever I've watched any videos, from normal urban exploration videos and rural exploration videos to people actually going into, let's say, haunted places, or places that are known to be haunted. I kind of wish I had, like, some buddies to go with and do that sort of thing. Because I do think that it's something that I shouldn't do on my own. for one thing, I don't have all the extra equipment people seem to carry these days for the longest time. Like you said, for EVPs and whatnot. One of my favorites, I know he started off working with Shane Dawson, but I really enjoy Garrett Watts doing that. He's funny, and I think his sense of humor and his what seems to be a good soul there helps with all of his interests, helps him with his approach. It's very nice, very nice. I kind of like it. I know he's like a young YouTuber, not a serious paranormal person, but I think that I enjoyed his one of his recent haunted tours, but I'm just on a ramble. There was a show I used to like that I know it could be, a lot of things could be debunked, but I didn't see much debunked for it, was the one on TV, and I haven't watched it for years, so I don't know anything about it, but it was the woman who was a medium, and the man who was a previously used to be a detective or a police officer, or was he a detective, like a New York detective? And I know a lot of that can be like stuff that they researched beforehand. They knew what they were getting into. They knew the background, history, stories, whatever. But I still feel that was one of the more authentic shows as far as what I sense from her. Not just only from what you could see of her being real. I know that the camera played up some stuff, but she was definitely someone I believe is a real one. I don't remember the name of the show. I'm sorry, it's not coming to mind right now, but I used to really enjoy that one. And it was a great refreshing thing in contrast to like the aggressive ghost hunter kind of guys. But there weren't all aggressive ones. There were some other shows on at the time on cable TV that were pretty good, that weren't too bad. But I think YouTube is really interested in that so many people that are that don't have shows can have that kind of they can go out and do this stuff, which is great. I remember in my 20s I had met somebody virtually who, again, unfortunately I was vulnerable and had attracted to me totally do I say like a psychic vampire? Like I don't know, but he was somebody who had wow, quite a deceiver on multiple people, but was also using the fact that many of us were into paganism, Wiccanism, etc., and used that as an in, and then got info from each of us and used it with the other ones to like be impressive. But I actually had been seriously interested in doing some stuff like that, like exploring and investigating and stuff, and I got really excited about that idea with this person, but it wasn't real with them, so they weren't they were a scammer of, you know, for people's energy and emotions. So that was the timing right before I got my gallbladder out, so I mean, good riddance and all that, but I was quite vulnerable. It was right after a long-term relationship, and I was too vulnerable. But I figured out I was also the one who caught him by chance in his lie. He had carried it on for a few years, and I had said something to someone in a chat room about him, and then they're like, no, he's with so and so, and I'm like, yeah, he's also with me. And then it turned out to be like a whole bunch of us, and the women we all banded together and like called him out. Yeah, I think years and years ago when I'd looked him up, I think he was running like some fake church cult thing, doing, I don't know in real life, and if he's continued that, I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, but just in real life. It was weird. Like, that's quite a story time all on its own. But like, so I've got this like gullibility, and despite how it might seem, because people assume so much on a video game, and sometimes we have bad days and we act out, but I actually think better of people than from what I've read, that people think of me. And I guess it doesn't help that I delete everybody, but that's me trying to protect myself, because I don't know what to do at some point. Like, when the messages get too much, I'm too overwhelmed. I'm like, this is not a healthy platform. And then I come to, and I'm like, but it's connection. Like, I do long for a connection with people, in that way, because we don't have chat rooms anymore. And I really do like to hot ring. But anyway, I'm all over the place on this. But yeah, I tend to be right about people. There's this, not all the time. I say this especially sometimes about people the closest to me. I can be totally blindsided. Sorry, both. I mean, because someone took me for a lot of, I got totally scammed by somebody I thought was a friend, in what was it, 2015, 16, 2015, or so, totally, and it wasn't the first time, and then and before that, I had been totally wrong about somebody in what their behavior. Like, I had no idea. So like, this shit happens where I just am totally unaware. But then there'll be times where I'm like right about somebody else. I'll be like, that person, I have this just feeling, and then sometimes I even guess exactly what it is that they are, and it turns out to be right. I don't know why that is. Like, I wish, and see, since I'm wrong about some people that are so near to me, or that I should know better, or that I've felt a way about, or that I've just, I don't know, been open about, it's very jarring and confusing, because then I'm like, well, how can I be right about anything if I was wrong about people so near me, or close to me, or somebody I've been so close to, or thought I was close to. But yeah, sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I call it in strange ways, and not just about people, about things and stuff. But I don't always think it's about me. I think sometimes that just somebody helps me out somehow, like, as in, if you believe in the knowledge and information just being always there, if you access it. I mean, maybe that's how it works, and sometimes we access it. It's right there, you know? But yeah, there's some people where I've just been like, they're doing this. I just know it. People will be like, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, you're terrible, that's you that's doing that, that has to be you that's doing that for you to say that, and then like it comes out. Like, so I have to remember that eventually people see, but people don't like it when they were wrong and somebody else was right, especially someone like me. So that doesn't ever really work out. It just ends up with a whole bunch of people feeling awful, which is terrible as well. Anyway, yeah, I like the idea of somebody making a channel that's centric to that idea, and so you can follow the journey on it. I like that you mentioned that he has empathy when dealing with the positive spirits, or the ones that I think that's good. The questioning reality, like, that makes you question reality. The more I've looked into a bit of physics and whatnot, or metaphysics, whatever, I really think that we're just not, we don't have the capacity, as Neil deGrasse Tyson has said, we don't have the mental capacity at our development to grasp beyond the dimensions that we are able to at this time. And it's proven that there is dimensions beyond what we experience and what we can see and sense. So, and that's just like a fact of physics. So I'm not surprised at all, and I think it's curious as to whether it's a matter of just the dead, or if some of it is parallel, if some of it is same time frame, different dimension, different like a split off. I mean, there's so many possibilities, or just energy, that residual energy that we've left behind as humans. I mean, when you think of the horrific pain people have caused each other, let alone other creatures, human, animals and wildlife, like nature, etc. There's, and historically, the blood that we have spilled for profit gain, politics, religion, etc. I think those things all leave marks, but then it also happens on small scales, like as far as family. I mean, it's proven fact about generational trauma, and that it is passed down through our genes, and it's passed down through our, I mean, that in our current lives our body keeps track. There's a book about it, The Body Keeps Score, that we keep trauma in our bodies unless we heal ourselves through it, which is really hard to do when you're distracting yourself all the time with this stuff. But I mean, the idea that trauma is retained in our bodies and in the pain, and then people generationally pass that down, certainly they pass it down in violence, neglect, abuse, abandonment, etc. But sometimes it's passed down just like traits, and generation to generation. So like, I mean, I really think there are consequences to the way we treat other people on this planet and way we have. And depending on where they are, like, it doesn't even matter where they are, that has impact. And yeah, I mean, it's like this small, like, it begins with you and your circular family or whoever you have around you, and it just expands and comes back at you, and then you're moving different places and you're going somewhere where things happened before. And yeah, I don't know, there's so much to that that's so interesting. And I just find it interesting. Just to break from that kind of heavy stuff, I just want to say one of the things I'm still immensely grateful for is that people do communicate with each other in different ways. That there are moments of compassion, that there are moments of passion and happiness, and that there's music that exists, and that there's film, even if it's dark film like horror. I mean, the expression, the outlet, the way that people can share their stories, the art, writing, poetry, activism, people who cook good food and share it, different things. Like, there's different acts that people do, and they're not defiance, but I don't know, like, there's things, I think there's counterbalances to things, but I don't think there's enough going on right now because of the way everything has gone. But yeah, anyway. And I do think that some of us are more open than other people, and some of us aren't necessarily focused on it. Like, we're not like going around going, I'm empathic and I'm more open than you. No, I just think it's like a given that some of us are. And even when I've been like shut down, closed off, exhausted, etc., it's like some things just, sometimes it just makes things even more, it's inevitable that it's like it reminds me of that film Stranger Than Fiction, where there's the writer that Will Ferrell's in it, and the writer is unintentionally killing off real people in the world that are her main characters that always die in her books. And Will Ferrell's character is unable to dive. He does whatever she writes, and where was I going with that? Except it's a really great film. I don't know, I lost my train of thought because I'm really thirsty, because talking about this stuff makes me thirsty. I've talked a long time. Something about, like, you can have, like, she didn't mean to hurt anyone, and he, in the end, he makes decisions, but sometimes, it was when he was deciding, I'm not going to do anything, then nothing will happen. But things happen anyway. Because that's how it is. Like, you can try to have that little temper tantrum, keep to yourself, and go, well, nothing's going to bother me because I'm, like, keeping to myself and I've pushed everyone away. Well, guess what? Like, if you have that kind of openness or have always attracted people to you, or there's something about you, you can shut down all you want, break, whatever. Like, you can be broken and people will still gravitate toward you. People will still either take advantage of your weak point, or they will find you anyway. I don't know, it's just how it is. You don't even have to do anything like, all the energy I would feel tired going out into the world, and yet I'm like not going out in the world, and I'm the most exhausted I've ever been trying to like deal with all this different stuff. So empathy is really important just in general in life, but yeah, I think if anyone's gonna go into whether they're doing, well, obviously it's a key component if you're tarot reading, like from a perspective of actually wanting to be genuine and helpful, you should definitely have empathy. I mean, not only is it a key important part of reading cards is having empathy toward the other person, but it just, your connection through how you're using the cards is just better. But empathy in general in real life is something I wish more people would have, like as in having empathy for people, which is very different than just pitying people and feeling sorry for them. I mean, actually feeling some sense of empathy. I think that's partly why I've never stayed angry at anyone. I've been upset, sad, sorrowful, ripped apart by various experiences and heartache in my life, but I don't hate anybody. I can't hate anybody, and I would reach out or always, except for some people where I think I finally learned my lesson, I would always let people back in, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but I always let somebody. I can't stay mad at people, because I always see things from their perspective. That was one of the things I did as a kid. I mean, maybe it helped me get through everything, was that, and maybe it helped me also as an adult, like going through things with the factory, is trying to see the various sides of the whole situation, which I wish I had been more knowledgeable about what my rights were and what I should have had for myself to, but I didn't, and that's okay. Yeah, empathy's good. I've had an open mind too. I've had an open mind for a long time about like all this stuff. Like, I've explored this stuff. I haven't shared all my books, but I'm subscribing to that channel you recommended, by the way. I haven't shared all my books, but I will one time, because my Aunt Terry, Uncle Jerry, are sending me bookshelves. They'll be here in November, and or maybe before then, who knows, because delivery is great. I'm excited, and when they're put together, I will do a better job with my bookshelves. I'll clean them up and I'll reorganize, and I will share the books I have, maybe an entire library tour, or I'll break it into sections. I'm not sure. It'll be a very long video if it's like all at once. I don't see how I could do that, but I don't know. I'll figure out something. And you'll be able to see that I've done some studying and some reading on various things from, yeah, like I did extensive studying for myself, probably because of my insatiable curiosity, trying to understand some things, trying to be open to what I may not know, or what I don't know. And sometimes you're just led to certain books at certain points in your life when you're ready to read them. Like, that's what I think anyway. I mean, yeah. Or when you're particularly interested in a topic. Yeah. I just moved the chair. Just so you know. It's a wood chair. It's not a very good chair to be having here. I remember somebody saying that that it must be really hard on my butt, and it is. It is not very. It's not very good for. Yeah. It makes me miss my comfortable chairs. I have my really tired voice going now. Makes me miss. I used to have like a big, comfy, no arm chair, as in like it would just, I could sit cross-legged on it, and I really like that. Though I haven't had one in this apartment. I have not had one here. But yeah, I remember that. So I didn't really talk about all the experiences. I mean, because I've been in, a graveyard that would have the cat always there. I've seen that for myself. That's not just a myth. There are often cats that will be at graveyards. A certain cat, like there was this same exact cat, it seemed, or it has, if you want to believe it has that it has whatever. I mean, there was this same cat, and I photographed that years ago in one of the old cemeteries in my hometown. What else? Different things. Yeah. Oh, about knowing stuff. I had a connection to the house I was a child in, where a lot of bad things happened, but still. And just the timing, I seem to, I don't know, I wasn't there, but the person that, is here now, but he was there walking by it after or to an interview or whatever, and was walking around, and happened to go by it right when people were moving out. And like the timing of that, I was there. So I was there when this happened, this big event happened of and I had no knowledge of that house being sold or anything. So but I was there on one of the most important days, like over the phone, but it was really, that sort of thing wasn't surprising. It just made sense that I would have been. Different things like that, like little things would happen that, when you're tied to places, you just seem to know things. I don't know. It's, I used to say that, I think there's another concept where fragments of yourself, especially if you've been through, let's say, abuse, can be left behind in places, and you can haunt a place while still alive. And that sounds weird, but I don't see why that can't be not true in a way. If energy is left behind in places and things that happen there, it makes sense if parts of you are at places or around. It just makes sense. I know this may sound weird, but this is something I've thought of. When you fractured part of yourself somehow, and it can happen in a good way too. Like it's when you just go someplace you didn't know you had been before, and I don't mean in like a dreamy destination kind of thing. I mean when you go somewhere and you're like, not just deja vu, but you feel like you're home, like your soul is good there, like you were meant to be there. I know of a place that I felt that way, and why I feel that, maybe it's connected to what I hadn't been aware of at the time that I moved there, which was the history of family that had loved and lived there. I mean, stuff like that's really interesting. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's sort of, I don't know. I think there's so many interesting things. But yeah, I think you can, like, haunt places even when you're not dead. Well, why not? Because we technically are haunted by ex-lovers, or we haunt them in some way. It's all doesn't have to do with the energy and our minds and all that stuff, and I call it universal connectedness. I mean, there's reasons for that, and that's why often people who are practicing various religions or non-religions will have various ways of keeping people at like from prayer to barrier spells to banishing to protective. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. So yeah, that totally makes sense to people. What I found interesting was that recent Thanksgiving where I felt, where I didn't even realize it was Thanksgiving, but I felt that forgiveness, and then the person in the household had dreamed of that person and me forgiving them. I mean, I think you can be on same wavelengths, and proximities and stuff can happen. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much to talk about with it, and I've gone over an hour. I've had experiences though since childhood. But I also was deeply religious when I was a child, so there's so many different stories, and I know that I've got some of it in real time written in my journals, and I don't know, some of it I probably wouldn't just like share so easily, but maybe I should. I'm still, as a closing remark though, I'm still, especially right now at this point in my life, I'm not attaching myself to any particular, path, and I don't know if that's to my detriment that I'm not, excuse me, I burped in my throat. I mean, I've had my Reiki level 1, I've learned more about tarot, even though I used to do it instinctually. I used to do barrier spells in my dreams, for myself and others in spaces. I've done extensive dream work and analyzing my own dreams and figuring it out, and also being insightful for other people. I've had experiences where I feel that, I've gotten insight from with people who have passed or people I'm not aware of, and at the same time I've just intuitively known some things. But on the other coin, like I said, I've completely not known things that were coming at me, and or people that I should have known all along about. It doesn't help that I'm always trying to see the best, and when I don't always see the best, or I seem like I don't, I still do. It's more like a self-defense thing where I'm because of the runaway thing in me, where it's just run away before anyone can run away from you, which is not I wouldn't recommend having that tactic. It doesn't really work, because you're still with yourself wherever you run away. So if you're running away from your own sort of fear or feeling, that doesn't go away just because you've pushed somebody away or gotten away from. I don't know, there's so much. This is going on too many tangents and I'm really tired. So yeah, 1.5 hour chat with me on this stuff. I would love to do urban and rural explorations. I would love to go on car trips where I get to photograph things, just normal, nature, and through the city as well. I mean, I've also had the thought, there's so many places in this city, let alone this building, but I mean the city that I could photograph. I mean, for my own photography, but I could also do a bit of, exploration in different ways. And I guess that would take leaving the apartment. Yeah, probably have to go outside for that. So anyway, this was a very long chatting vlog about that, but yeah, I know about paranormal investigations and equipment used and best practices, and I also know about the ones that are more psychic, empath connected, and their approaches, which I don't feel that I have somebody in my life that I would feel could be a good anchor or shield, not shield, but an anchor and strong in themselves to brace if I was to be that open and vulnerable to those energies. If I was to just throw myself out there, I don't feel yet that person is presently involved in my life. Maybe someday, because that might be part of why I have so many of the tools around me, certain tools around me for that kind of stuff, and why I continue to have certain things. I mean, that could be partly why, and maybe that'll happen. Maybe it's, as I make my way through the crone stage of my life as I get further into it. You never know. That person may be out there waiting for me to, if they're waiting for me to be able to change my situation to be more to be on my own, they're gonna be waiting for a few more years, because can't financially do that. But but yeah, on that note, it's 2:31 p.m. a.m. I'm tired. I'm thirsty as F. Really thirsty. Like, I could drink so much water right now, and I'm going to. To end this, I don't even know that I addressed everything, and I certainly didn't really talk about even some experiences or some family stuff, like the fact that I remember, even though I'm not close to her, I remember that my mother could know things, but she was very closed off from me, but she knew things regarding other people. She would know things. But I was super religious back when I was with her, so we didn't really talk about stuff. And my dad, of course, has the astral projection stuff, the empath stuff as well, but his whole stuff is all messy. And then I learned that his birth mother could travel as well, or she just wanted to say hi on her way out with the warning. I don't know what's all in the families, like, as far as there's so much like trauma in all the families, but I don't, and there's so much like, yeah, I mean, and no one will give me the full history of anything of it. I'd have to be like famous or something, or achieve enough to be able to have my full family history get researched by some like TV show that would do it, so they could research my dad's family, they adopted him, and the birth family, my mother's family, like the one that, like, her original father, and my great-grandmother on her side, because I have questions and all that stuff, and all them. And then there's my dad's birth family and adoptive family, and who was his dad, like, who is his dad as well, that family. Then there's the whole step-parents stuff and their families. I mean, I'm really curious about all of it, but some things I guess I won't know anytime soon, and I'd have to accomplish a lot more for anybody to ever do the digging later. I think it'd be quite interesting, though. I think so, anyway. I wish I could know now, but it's probably best I don't know everything about people. Like, it's hard enough. Yeah, so thanks for listening. This was not going to be Vlogtober day, whatever. The only way it'll become that is if I don't record anything today, which is not what I plan to do. I plan to record. So this will count as an extra vlog that'll go up as a reply on the subject of dreams, paranormal. Oh, on that note, mentioning the word dreams, big fan of Waking Life. I watched it in my 20s. Was it out in my 20s? I think it was. Yeah. I was living on my... Yeah, it was in my 20s that I watched it. And, that, if you're into the idea of lucid dreaming and waking life, is just... the conversations in it, so quotable, so good. I just really enjoyed that one. And I recommend that for those that are curious about the idea of dreams being more. And then, I mean, if you're already into the concepts of reality not being what it seems, I mean, heck, rewatch The Matrix, and there's too many films to name that are questions of reality. I mean, I love that kind of stuff, actually. There's so many different... There's so much out there now that it's hard to pick, like, what you would watch. But definitely go with some classic. If you keep seeing certain things being mentioned or things that call to you, I would suggest picking it up. I mean, books-wise, like... so many things I could think of that would be good. We'll see as far as what happens, and if I get to actually share better, more. Well, I should soon. Yeah, so yeah, this was about dreams, paranormal, openness. I still need to work on barrier protection, just so I can be more chill again. I'd like to be, just because I feel like if I don't do that, I'm just not gonna be, I'm gonna lose too much of myself. And when I'm playing, it's not video games are bad, okay? It's just that my desire to be connected to people and to talk with them and feel part of things, and to also enjoy racing, but also to have connections with people, which I wish people would just believe. I despite things happening that is drama, I actually am coming from a well-intentioned place, and I am who I say I am. I am embarrassingly myself. And if you have questions about me, or have heard things that, just ask me. I'm very open. If there's something that I can't answer, then I'll tell you. But if you need to know something, I'm right here. Like, I'm here. It's kind of my problem regarding family, or people that were like, hey, you're not able to be reached, you don't have Facebook. Yeah, but I'm everywhere on the internet. I'm easy to reach if you reach out. I may not answer certain people if I don't know you at all. Like, you need to let me know who you are. But I'm here. Like, it's been a bit tough, I would say, in this past year, of a few people who would message me and be like, going on assumptions based on what somebody else told them, when those other people had certain motives that I know of, but they don't know. And I can't say anything. And it's so frustrating, because it's so sad. Because unfortunately, that's kind of happened a couple times with people that I really enjoyed knowing or getting to know. And that's kind of the sad part of the game, because the people who tend to do the best socially on the game are the ones that play a they aren't they are they know how they are, and in fact their behavior is often applauded as though that's how it's supposed to be. But I can't get mad about it, because you know what, like, I'm not gonna play that way. I've lashed out and I've reacted and but at the end of the day, I'm not holding anger. I will own what I do. I've been told I don't own what I do, or that I'm fake or whatever, but no, I'm blatantly honest, and I will tell you. Just freaking ask me. And if you don't believe me and you want to believe the narratives that somebody else is telling you, then why don't you own that that's what you're doing? You're choosing to stay in your bubble of ignorance for your benefit of belonging, instead of I don't know. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I mean, because I know different people pushed me away to protect themselves from the possibility of being hurt, or because they've heard certain things and they want to believe that or assume something without asking me. And I know this seems so off topic, but it's kind of connected to the whole being open and needing to learn to set boundaries, and just not having the strength to, because part of me must be wanting to remain open, for fear that if I completely close off, I might shut down completely, and I wouldn't want that either. So I know I have to find a middle ground where I'm protecting myself and I'm, taking care of my health, and I'm also able to enjoy the video game without people being able to just take and attack. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy the game. I want to laugh and be me in whatever way I am. I want to be there for people. I want to also just enjoy the experiences we can have on that game. And I want to make connections. I do like that. I do like the conversations I've had with people, and I do like when there seems to be people trying to understand each other and communicate thoughts and ideas. So I don't know, I hope I figured that out. And I guess that can tie back into the whole paranormal and dream stuff, because isn't what we're essentially doing when we're interested in that kind of stuff, and when we're seeking it out as well, or when we're open to it, or any of that, isn't that also about connection and trying to understand and trying to find meaning and trying to find answers and trying to be open and trying to help, or trying to find something that we feel might be there that we can't see or that we could see? I mean, isn't it all in a way connected? It's reaching out, it's exploration, it's saying I'm here, are you out there too? Like, is someone there? A lot of that, it makes sense. It's all part of the same conversation in a way that humans have with each other across time and circumstance and places, and I think that's very human of us. Don't you think it's very interesting? That's just some thoughts at 2:46 a.m. Yeah, I'm done talking. So this was an extremely long vlog. Extremely long. I hope you enjoyed the Yeti ASMR mic that I never use for ASMR because I'm still too scared to make ASMR because I don't know if I could be any good at it, and that makes me a coward about it because who cares? I should try to do things anyway because I'm not getting any younger, and who knows, maybe somebody might like it, and maybe other people wouldn't, and that's okay because they could watch other things and listen to other things, and that would be great too because that's what I do too. But yeah, this was a webcam video with a really good mic that I wish I would use because it's beautiful and I like it and I want to use it, but ASMR videos will eventually come. I think I would like to make book videos with the ASMR mic. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening, and if you're not subscribed, why? There's like half of you that are revisiting the channel, watching the videos, or some of the videos. So 50% subscribe, not subscribe. I mean, you could just like click subscribe and the notification bell and then just ignore my videos if it's not the subject of the video that you want to watch. That's what I do. And it would help me out because I've been on this platform forever, and it would be great if I could, like, I don't know, get somewhere with it. I mean, I'm coming on camera, like that phrasing, but I am appearing on camera, but also trying to share some bit of my life, plus also sharing lots of racing, which are actually kind of relaxing. If you just, like, listen to the checkpoints, you can fall asleep to them. If you're not subscribed, that's cool though. I don't care. I mean, I don't care at the end of the day as far as like, no, I care. But I mean, I'm not like not gonna make content just because you're not subscribed. I mean, you're still showing up and I appreciate that. But I mean, I've made videos for so long that I guess I'm not expecting it to suddenly take off, but take off, eh? Oh, speaking of which, I gotta take off. But good night, and yeah, I'll have the Vlogtober vlog up for the 19th first, and then I'll have this video up. Yeah. And then I'll have a vlog made after I've slept. Maybe I'll go for a walk today, Wednesday. Maybe I won't. Find out. Either way, it might not be that long of a vlog because this is long enough. Thank you again for listening. If you haven't, if you have curiosity, you can always go to my Instagram, which I don't update that often, but I think I put some full moon pictures on. It's at Amber Dawn Pullen, and I'm on Twitter, and I've got my website, amberdawnpullen.com, and I got my live journal through there, and my Flickr photo galleries, which include travels and events and city and all that stuff, going back a long way. And I've got the gaming videos, the Twitch. Yeah, I got a lot of breadcrumbs all over that you can take little morsels of or put in your pocket and then go into the woods and be sure to drop them so you can find your way back out unless something eats them. Okay, take care. Good.